235, and it would be on the property where the old pink house used to be. Okay? Now, keep in mind, Mr. Nash is not proposing, nor is he entitled to use any portion of your property.
Okay.
Not to go on your property or take anything. He's got to stay within the envelope of his property to do what he's saying. And the setback, because of our zoning ordinance, which is up on the board, your current zoning designation, whether you know it or not, is called RB, which is residential business. Single family is fine, but it's also entitled, or it entitles things like doctor's offices or a dentist office, things like that, kind of light commercial activities that you would logically see in a more commercial activity, but not so much the retail and that sort of thing. You know, Dr. Austin has a dentist office on the north end of town, kind of that sort of situation.
Okay.
The current zoning, which is residential business, does not permit mini warehouses. So in order for Mr. Nash or NEC Investments to do what they want to do, property has to be rezoned for more intensive commercial activities.
Okay.
And that would permit mini warehouses.
I think his question
Okay.
is that 5 foot would come from my property,
His
not
property, not y'all's.
not
Okay.
an adjacent property owner.
Okay, and another.
He's taking 5 foot and setting the buildings in so that maintenance could be done, grass could be cut, whatever it is.
Okay, understood. Because what my mom was thinking, she was thinking that since her house was the only house back there, that, y'all was gonna get the whole thing, buy the house from her, the land and all that.
There's a lot in between, is there not? Right. No, there's no need, Mr. Nash is not entitled, nor is the town requesting any sort of access onto your property.
Okay.
Taking of your property, interference with your enjoyment of your property.
Okay, no
And I do
problem.
think there's actually either 1 or 2 lots in between your house and where Mr. Nash is proposing to do it. There's some folks that were from down in North Carolina or Georgia. Gentleman was from Georgia because he called me about this as well. And those lots are in between, but no, there'll be no taking. The reason we send the letters is because state code requires all adjoining property owners to receive one, but because you were the only house back there, I sent you a letter too.
Okay.
Because sure enough, you would have said, why didn't I get one? But all adjoining property owners are required by state law to receive a certified letter or a letter certified by our clerk that has been sent out and a notarized statement. And so we sent that to you, the railroad. Did the railroad get one? Railroad, and on the other side, is it a Dr. Brown or something that owned the property on the other side? I think we sent letters to those folks as well, including that gentleman that lived in Georgia. He received one. I think Brothers Pizza may have gotten one, and maybe even as far as Hardee's.
Okay, well, thanks for the clarification, and I'll pass it back to you.
But do come by the office. We have some diagrams to show you what this looks like, and if you'd like to look at those, I'd be more than happy to share them.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Any other citizens would like to come and comment on this request? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing and I will open the floor for discussion amongst council.
I have a question. This is North Brown Street, and since I've been on council, we were talking about all the traffic on that street. Wouldn't that add more traffic to that area
Podium.
Oh, podium, excuse
and
me.
that road?
I'm sorry, Ms.
I don't think it'll be intensive traffic like another restaurant, but yeah, I'm sure it will add traffic. You're gonna have 35 people who potentially would go there every day.
We was talking about the traffic, the tractor trailers coming through that road and all of that, so we're adding more traffic.
There will be additional traffic, yes. I would assume that it'll create more activity. Do I have a number of cars? Each single-family house, by VDOT standards, is the equivalent of 10 individual trips. And that's how they do their traffic counts and what is required for road improvements and that sort of thing. The single-family home would be the equivalent of 10 trips per day. I don't think this will generate each individual unit, but it may be certainly the equivalent of a single-family home, I would assume. Which was there, what was there previously? There was a, if everybody remembers, a masonry pink home that was set there for many, many years.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions for the manager or any comments?
All the runoff and none of that?
It would obviously have to go through soil and water control of the county.
Okay.
But yeah, all that would be controlled. It's not gonna be a paved lot, it's gonna be rock for runoff to go into the lot itself, not off on the sides.
It does have to be fenced and access limited by our ordinances, so it's not going to be open to the public. There will have to be a card system or some sort of a way for people to individually access those facilities.
What is council's pleasure? Is there a motion to approve or to deny? We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I motion to deny.
Okay, well, let me finish with the motion I have, okay? You may offer a substitute motion to deny if you would like. So we have a substitute motion. Lord, I didn't remember, but one in 8 years I was up here, but,
I think you gotta get a second to the original
Okay.
motion,
well, thank you.
and then you would move on to the.
Do I have a
the
second to the
substitute.
original motion? To approve.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, we have a second. We have a second. We have a substitute motion to deny the request. Is there a second to the substitute motion? Y'all killing me. Hearing none, that motion dies for lack of a second. I have a motion on the floor for approval. I'll start with Mr. Gormas with a roll call vote.
Well, is there any discussion?
Any discussion?
If she wants to deny it, I'm sure she has some
I
discussion.
already said what I had to say.
Oh, it was with the
I think
traffic.
she's concerned about the traffic,
I
okay?
had some concerns with the traffic as well, but the runoff you answered, so.
Was the motion second, the original motion? The what?
She was making a secondary motion to deny.
Yeah, substitute, yeah.
Yeah,
Mr.
sub-
Page seconded the motion, so we could have discussion. And then I cut him off. We'll have a banner night.
Start the on here.
Roll call vote starts with Mr. Gormas.
Aye, yes, yay. Whatever the right word is there, yes.
Thank you.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Staying.
Nay.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Y'all didn't do that to me, did you? You got to be kidding me. Am I recording this right? We have a 1-1 tie?
You got a
Passes
two.
You got two.
2-0.
2-1. Motion carries 2-1.
2-0-3.
The quorum is present, and,
Motion carries 2-1.
that's a new one.
Who's the one?
I thought y'all gonna make me
But,
vote.
you know, I don't, excuse me, I don't want nobody, but my reason for abstaining is because he's on council. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So,
Respect it, yes.
you know, you got, in my heart, I don't feel that I should okay nothing for a council
Okay.
pertaining to.
Conflict of interest.
And I'm just gonna be
Conflict, yeah.
open and honest. Somebody did talk to me about the traffic, but I thought it was a good idea because it's immediate tax revenue. So I abstained knowing that you already had 2 votes.
Okay. Thank you, council. Moving right along, you have 2 sets of minutes before you. One, the first set of minutes is a special call meeting, which was our organizational meeting. Do we have any questions or
I
comments?
move to approve and dispense of the reading of the minutes for the 10th and the 23rd of January.
I have some comments about the 23rd, so can we
That's
leave
fine.
this? Can you leave your motion
I will wait, yes, sir.
for the 10th? Mr. Nash has moved to approve these minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Nash has moved and Mr. Page is second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 7-0. The next set of minutes you have are from the regularly scheduled meeting on the 23rd. Is there any questions or comments? I do read your minutes, ma'am. On page 10, I made a comment about an idiot on 8th Street that had too much, got too much going in his fireplace. I want to make sure the record reflects that idiot was me. I would never call one of my constituents an idiot under no circumstances. I'm grateful for the votes I get. But that idiot was me, and again, the fire department and police department were there.
Surprised our
And now I have a clean chimney. So, that's my only statement about the minutes. Are any,
move to approve with them and
we have a motion from Mr. Nash. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Ms. Williams to dispense with the reading and approve with my silly amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We now have the visitor section. We have some visitors that are scheduled, and I also will hear from any visitors that would like to address the council after we have the slate. Number one was a resolution presentation from Mayor Colburn, and we've already taken care of that. Number two is a transit development plan from KFH Group. They were to have a representative here, but we have our able-bodied director, transit director, and if you have any questions about this plan, I think she'll try to answer them. I have scanned over it and looked at it the best I could. I don't have any questions. Do y'all
I
have
found
any?
it more interesting of the maps. I mean, I didn't know we went all the way to
Yes.
the upper part of Cumberland
Yes.
and to
Yep.
some store. I mean, are these profitable routes or somewhat? Or
Most
obviously
of
that's not our funds. That's the other localities.
right. So most of our buses that go, I mean, that far out of our own locality, it's just a lot of like to and from work, like very regular riders that pretty much ride every single day going to and from their job and back.
Whiteville, Cumberland. That's almost in Goochland.
Yep,
Long way.
it's a long ways. So like you guys said, the KFH group, they are who the state had hired to do our update. We do an update for this plan that's required for our transit system every 5 years. I mean, it's a 10-year plan. They were going to be here tonight, but they were not able. This is just, I mean, like I said, it's a requirement for our transit agency, most of which is in the plan that this is their final draft, is a lot of our like capital projects for years to come. What you see in there is not set in stone. It's just, our plan to kind of follow and guide us. It's not anything that we, are, I guess, required to do just because it's in the plan. It's just something that we kind of use as a guide to follow us. Like I said, it's a requirement for the transit system. So
I'm gonna ask a silly question. Or you sign off on this? Are you good with it?
I am, yes. Yeah, I've been working with them for, gosh, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 months on this update. So it's been something that we've gone back, and forth with, and I've had countless Zoom calls with them, and they've been really, really good about talking to with me before they just go ahead and do stuff. So
Very comprehensive plan. Very, very well done. Mr. Page.
absolutely.
It, from what I noticed is our riders dropped a lot, but they're starting to bounce back. Are we
Right.
still seeing that? Is that what's
Right.
going on? Okay.
Yeah, so primarily, obviously, everybody knows the whole COVID dilemma. Our ridership definitely dropped drastically. But when I was going over the ridership for submitting our local fund requests for our FY24 budget, they've definitely come up some. So they're starting to level back out, so that's definitely good to see.
The only question I had for you is I see that we have a stop at Amazon Fulfillment Center and not on Walmart Fulfillment Center, which is one of the largest employers over there.
For our Dinwiddie bus?
Right. Is there any plans to work something out, or is there any demand maybe for that? Do we know?
So that's something that they talked about. We do go by the Walmart distribution. It's not technically on our fixed route schedule, but that's not to say that we don't go by there. If somebody calls in and says, "Hey, I'm here at the Walmart distribution. Would you mind, picking me up and taking me to Petersburg?" That's definitely something that we still do, even though it's not on the route. But to my understanding, and this was before I was in this position, it was on the schedule. But it was not something that was very utilized. So when they did the route revision, it was taken off of the route. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Council?
Move that we approve the plan.
We have a motion to approve the transit development plan. Is there a second?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Nash has moved and Mr. Miller duly seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you so much.
One quick thing.
Oh, go ahead.
I was confronted by 2 restaurants in town this week, and Philip, this may be a you question with Mary. They're looking for a route to go directly to the Fast C trainees sites, and
I don't think we can actually do a route. We got the 4 picket line.
Correct.
But what we're
I
proposing.
think they're looking at
is-
something for after hours.
And I don't know the status of it, but Mary and I met recently. In fact, we looked at a grant application that was being promoted by Senator Warner for transit and for buses, but it's for a fixed route. What we want to do, and I don't know the status of it, but we want to have something between these residential facilities and our downtown at a minimum, perhaps after the Fast Seat facility. But we were going to propose to do something at night and
Well,
bringing people.
this was to the training, the 2 restaurants were asking for Patriot Square, for Blackstone Academy Square, the Inn, for locations in town to get them to their restaurants.
And we have the town bus, and maybe Mary, we've talked about it. I don't know if you have any kind of schedule or any other thoughts.
So I think when we had talked, we had decided to, I guess maybe send out a notice of some sort of, businesses who are interested and maybe, have a meeting to see how we can work out a route with our town bus. So we haven't set a meeting yet or anything, but
I
it's,
just want these restaurant owners to be heard. And I
Right.
think they would actually be very receptive to having a meeting. I think that's a good step.
And let us know who's interested in working it out,
Right.
where our stops need to be, but this will not be a fixed route.
No.
And it'll be in the evenings, perhaps a 6 to 10. Something like that from all the facilities that have been built, VMAC and Patriot Square has their own bus. I don't know how many people use it. And
It's not operated.
some of the others have their own vehicles. I think the classes differ, but certainly VMAC, because most of those students don't have their own car. And our proposal, our plan is to come up with a plan and have a separate route that's not a fixed route using the town's bus, the one that we own, and creating a route so you don't have to go to Walmart and wait for people to get on with the groceries and all that sort of thing.
I think it's a good idea to
Just
send out
restaurants
letters
are
to
the
the
hub there.
businesses and
Right.
stuff. I think it's a good idea.
right.
All right, I appreciate it.
Anything else, council? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all.
Our next visitor is Miss Sharon Street. Would you come to the podium, please? She's here to talk to us about this year's Juneteenth celebration.
I'd like to say good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
And once again, my name is Sharon Street. I am the secretary of the Town of Blackstone Juneteenth Committee. This year, we are the Town of Blackstone Juneteenth requesting for our 3rd annual event. The Town of Blackstone Juneteenth Committee, first of all, excuse me, I think each one of y'all should have had a package already pre-submitted to y'all. Okay. All right. We are humbly requesting to host our 3rd annual and future Juneteenth celebration to take place the last full weekend in June in forthcoming years. And we're requesting forthcoming years because you all are doing a 4-year term, so we won't have to come keep requesting this every year. It will be something already submitted to the agenda for the year. The Town of Blackstone Juneteenth Committee has completed the nonprofit sponsorship package and is requesting $5,000 to go towards the expenses related to the event for the year 2023. Please see your attachment. In addition to town funding, the Town of Blackstone Juneteenth Committee is requesting for all Juneteenth celebrations to take place, that will take place with the closing of Main Street on Saturday of the last full weekend in June from 4 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. from Tavern Street to Irvin Street, waiving of all banner fees to hang banner overhead in front of the post office, waiving of noise ordinance for the Town of Blackstone, 2, adopt of trucks, event posted on the town website and Facebook page, event posted on electronic board at the fire department, access to stages, additional chairs, tables, drop cords, traffic signage, any town equipment or of use at the event. The access to town square, we've also submitted a request form for that. Access to Sea Park, we've also submitted a request form for that. Access to the police department conference room for government officials and special guests if needed. Council member Ms. Laureate Nguyen has been our appointed council representative for the event. All non-monetary requests submitted by the Town of Blackstone Juneteenth Committee would be for the last full weekend in June of 2023 and impending events taking place on that particular weekend. For information regarding the Town of Blackstone Juneteenth celebration is required, please do not hesitate to contact the Town of Blackstone Juneteenth Celebration Sponsorship Coordinator at the Town of Blackstone Juneteenth Celebration Committee Sponsorship Coordinator, and that's at P.O. Box 181, Blackstone, Virginia. Or you can go to our email us at tobjuneteenthcommittee@gmail.com. Regards to our committee.
One question, the waiving of the noise ordinance, is there a time limit?
From the I guess from 10 to 10, because normally we have like a after evening social. Yes, sir.
Just had to put a number to
To 10 p.m. Yes, sir. And last year everybody left around about 9:30. Okay.
Got a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I fully support Juneteenth. It was a great event last year.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm wondering, I know you're requesting $5,000 again. Is the event self-sustaining yet?
Yes, since we've got our 501(c), we have been attaining sponsorship. We are waiting on a report from Virginia State to be one of our main sponsors this year. I have today myself, excuse my voice, because I've been out submitting sponsorship for our sponsor book this year. So yes, we do try our best to do it.
So the funds coming in from vendors are being rolled over to operations for the next
Yes,
year?
sir. Those goes towards any expense that we must put forth.
And are we going to continue to see this request annually at that same amount? Is it going to gradually go down?
Hopefully we won't have to use as much from you all. We really are trying to deter from the town, but as things have happened with the COVID-19, and then, you know, some people are, like today I had a couple of positive sponsors, and then there's some where we'll look at it and we'll let you know. So it's touch and go. We never know. But we do, this is an ongoing job, and we are volunteers. I, myself as secretary, sit on my computer day and night looking for grants for trying to help us for nonprofit.
In the request, Philip, we've done in the past, just to clarify, the employees that the town offers, is that come out of the 5,000?
Yes, and it's itemized, yes, sir. And it's, if you look.
So it's not $5,000 cash directly
No.
given to them. We itemize, obviously, the trucks being used, all that stuff.
Yes, sir, and that's everything we call it. We have a PO form, which is a form we have to submit, and we have to submit 3 offers, and we go with the lowest one, and the committee does vote on before we decide to submit.
I have a comment about that when we get to it. I'm gonna be asking for 4 separate motions
All right.
to go through
The-
this parliamentary.
Obviously, this council, or I don't know if it was this council or the previous, I don't know where it fell. This event this year falls at a bad time for the way we asked for committees or nonprofits to submit for expenditures. So if there's any possible expenditures or y'all looking for any money from the town for next year, let's get it in the books for this budget year, just so that.
I think that's what we have basically done.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
I know obviously the event falls right before the budget season, and so it's just.
And also, H&R Block, Ms. Vanessa Hardy is working on our 1099 for you all.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you're working on this request now, and then you'll also submit a packet by March 1st for next year? Is that right?
It's already been submitted,
Oh,
sir.
good.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to make sure it's even
Yeah.
across the board is all I'm trying.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question about the road closures.
Come up here to the podium, please. It's not fair for people that are only able to view this, that they can't hear you. Heck, I can hardly hear you, and I'm here. What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Molly Lashway. I live at 100A West Maple Street, right here in town.
It's nice to see you, ma'am.
Nice to be here. Thank you guys for all that you do. I do have a question about the road closures, because I do have a business here in town, and when the roads are closed, I know I've mentioned this every single year, us businesses, we are not made aware of the road closures before it gets approved by you guys. And some of us, it does negatively impact our business because cars can't physically drive by and park right in front of us. Or if they're on main streets, now they have to find alternative parking. So I'm not saying to not close the roads, but at least let all of us businesses know that this is an option and for us to be able to voice our opinions before you approve of the road closures.
I think we're going to take it up tonight. So
Can I address that?
yes, ma'am. Please do.
Like I said today,
Come to
I'm
the
sorry, I have been going around to individual businesses. I've noticed today a lot of businesses on Mondays are closed. I don't know where you're located at, but we are giving out forums. We even have a survey this year inquiring and asking that the downtown businesses participate to let us know how we can continue to incorporate you all. Every year we do this, and we do ask you all to participate. So it's just not about African American. Since this has been going on, I have seen a unity between blacks and white. Our first year, and I know it's maybe time, I saw more white people at our event than black people. And it was so pleasing because you had so much negativity. But we want the town businesses to incorporate. Our elderly people that come and participate, they want somewhere to go and sit down where it's cool, or look at when they have been away so long, they want to see what has developed in their town. I had visited a woman that was her 100th birthday. She was originally from Blackstone, and I told her what was going on with the Juneteenth. She was so excited, and she was planning on attending, but unfortunately, she passed away last year. So they do not want to not be involved with the businesses. We want the businesses downtown to be involved, and we know parking is an issue. That's why we asked for the downtown input, businesses input, and I have not probably got to your business yet, but I am working on that, getting around, and I do have my package together.
Thank you for a very gracious response. Can y'all exchange information?
Yes, sir, I have my stuff right here.
Can we get this on the website?
I think Molly just holds a unique business that can't go out on the street because she.
And what's your business name?
Sanitary Barber Shop.
Oh, yes, I was coming to them. Yes.
Okay.
So I think that's her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would probably love to be part of the event.
Yeah.
It's the fact that she can't go out of her.
Yeah.
That's
Do
no
they
problem.
cut it off right there at Main, or do they move it down?
So it's also the crossroad, because the crossroad is closed. If the crossroad was open, then I'd be much more okay. Like, then it wouldn't necessarily negatively impact me. But because the crossroad is closed, it then blocks off my little side streets.
It's a dead end street.
Yeah, because then if cars do want to park right in front of my shop, they have to physically turn around right there, which...
Does it need to be open all the way to Main, or can we open it and we close it right there at the end of your building where like the police station parking lot is, and people can park and walk over? Would that work better for you, or?
Well, it's the fact that they can't cross over Main Street.
Oh.
If they can cross over Main Street, if that was open, like the light where Watkins Jewelry is, if that crossroad was open, then that's all my issues.
Yeah, that's tough to
We
do.
have found that to be, because we leave Broad Street and Main open. And last year, I stood there while we set up, and there is an issue with traffic, because even the police officer was standing there and someone ran through the light, and the light was red, and he said, well, you still have to obey the traffic light. Just because, so that is an issue with us. That's why we closed down, for the safety of everyone. That's why I understand what you're coming from too, but it's a safety issue for the event right there. And not only we have children, but adults and seniors that can't cross as fast. So that's why we try to make it just where there's no traffic. And that's why the vendors have a set time to be in and out to set up, so there will be no automobiles in place.
So hopefully y'all can work that out. If
Yes,
you
sir.
can't, Philip will be glad to help you, okay?
Okay, cool.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I have 4 recommended motions to get through this material, if y'all don't mind. I'd like a motion to approve Juneteenth's request to host the 3rd annual celebration on the 24th of June 2023, with all their requests included in their application.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Allman has moved, and Mr. Miller has seconded. I don't have any money involved, so
Is there an alternative date, a rain date by any chance?
No.
So, I mean, what happens if you get rained up?
Well, we pray we don't get rained
I
out.
understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
What would happen?
we let our vendors know that they are responsible for their equipment and everything. The DJ is responsible, because at our first one we had, it did rain towards the end. So that's why we suggest tents and whatnot. And
looked like everybody had a tent.
Yes,
They had a
and-
way to get out
yes,
of the rain.
yes.
Not a hurricane, but,
yes,
you
and
know,
we do
a
not
nice
block
shower.
the sidewalks, so to make sure everybody can walk in down the sidewalks too.
It's a one-day event.
It'll be June the 24th. Okay.
I don't mean to push y'all, I'm sorry if I did. Is there any more discussion?
No, I just want to make sure if there was a rain date, we need to include that as well.
Absolutely, I appreciate you, okay? All those in favor to approve their request signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. The second request I would have for you to make a motion is for the town to donate $5,000 to this event. And this would be through paying of invoices. And then the balance would be submitted, and we would have a report back from where that $5,000 was spent. Okay?
So moved.
We have a motion from Mr. Nash. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams, second. We'll ask for a roll call. Any discussion? I'll ask for a roll call
The new
vote.
paperwork is in works, so.
Yes, Ms. Hardy, yes.
We'll have a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Gormas.
Aye.
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 Outstanding. Motion carries 7-0. I would like for council to appoint Ms. Nguyen as the council representative and be our liaison.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Page has moved to appoint Ms. Nguyen, and Mr. Gormas has seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. I also noted in a letter to the mayor and the council that you're requesting, Ms. Street,
Right here.
you're requesting to have ads in the paper seeking nominations
For the hometown hero?
for the Hero Award.
Yes, sir.
So you still would like the town to put these in?
Mayor Coburn started.
Right.
So, and I think a lot of people look forward to doing that because a lot of people go unrecognized, and we would like to do that. And we already have some nominees, but we just have to wait for approval from you. And I already have that in my computer to submit to you whenever it's ready.
Yes, ma'am. Are we talking 4 or 5 weeks? Up to 5? You want to do the papers in March? Is that what you want to do?
Yes, because we're going to have a deadline.
Okay.
They have to have it in by a deadline.
Council, you've heard my request that we pay for up to 5 ads in the Courier Record to seek nominations for Black History Hero Award. Mr. Allman has
Second.
and Mr. Miller has second. Let's see. I think we're fine with the dollar amount. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Do you think these motions have taken care of your request?
Yes, sir, most definitely. I appreciate it, Council.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you all.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh,
we didn't waive the noise ordinance for.
We did that in the request.
We did it in the request?
Yes,
This is the first one? Okay,
All the items that she asked for.
sounds good.
We're learning every year what we have to do, so,
Getting smooth.
yeah.
All right, we greatly appreciate you. and
Thank
everything
you,
do,
you're welcome.
Okay?
Ms.
All right.
Street, make sure you see me.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Our next visitor is Miss Julie Craik. And she's here to speak to us about the second Saturday artwork.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
Hi, good. Thank you for having me. I'm Julie Craik, and I'm here on behalf of the Second Saturday Art Walk Committee. I am the owner of the In-Town Art Gallery and Studio, where we have artists displayed, we have classes, we have educational events and other events. But the Second Saturday Committee is made up of some of our artists. It's also made up of some business owners. It's also made up of just residents of the town. So there's a list of them here, so you can all see. It's pretty small, but basically we have. This is our second year. We're very excited to be coming back. Last year we had 62 vendors that participated. We had artists, musicians, dancers, and even some churches. We had a lot of different types of art and creative items and activities. So it was a success. It was our first year, and we're excited to come back this next year with even more community organizations involved. So we're looking at including things like the karate studio and dance studios, and a lot more community organizations participating in the creative events and presentations. So this is really just a request tonight, just to get your support, to have you understand what it is, what you're going to be seeing every month in town. We're really asking for really just to have you waive the banner fee and installation fees of that, the Blackstone Square fee, and to activate the power on the day of the event, and then requesting that banner goes up and down before and after the event, since it is every month, rather than having it sit there for 7 months, that comes up and down. So let me explain a little bit more if you haven't heard about the event. It's every single month. It's the second Saturday of the month. It's moving from, we've adjusted the times a few times. We decided through a survey of all of those that participated to adjust it to an 11 a.m. to a 3 p.m. on Saturday, rather than later in the afternoon, to get more participation from families and have a little bit more participation. And the event really is, the mission is to provide a community event that promotes local art, brings awareness and exposure of arts and creativity to the community. It provides a place for vendors to sell. It brings visitors to Blackstone. And even more than that, it creates a place for people to come to our town, not just for one day, but possibly to move. You know, this is what we all want, is we want a town that's full of activities and things for people to do. So it's got a lot of great energy with it, and I'm very nervous about doing this. So I hope that answers your questions. Do you have any questions about the paperwork that I've submitted or what I'm requesting?
Question on the second, I guess this is considered the page of request, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says second, it says request to waive the use of town square fee on Main Street. Or will second Saturday be charging for spots in the square?
We decided this year that we are going to ask for it. Last year it was free. And so we've decided that the vendors to ask for $15 per vendor. And this does two things. This, it helps them to feel a little more committed to the day rather than waking up on a Saturday morning deciding not to participate. So once you've paid a little fee, you're locked in. You feel a little more committed to the event, as well as it gives us that little bit. We've had about an average of 30 vendors per time. That'll give us a little bit of money to work with so that we can hire some musicians and pay for some of the performers.
The only issue I have with that is that the square is always supposed to be used for nonprofit. And so that's why I asked the question is if you weren't charging for the spots, I see it as a benign issue.
So there is no profit. Anything we, in-town art basically paid for last year. We are, there's no profit to be made. The $15 fee pays for the performers. Vendors have to pay to be there. Performers expect to be paid to be there. So that's what it is that is just really paying for the other.
Are you saying the square could only be,
In the policy.
fee could only be waived for nonprofit? Didn't we waive the fee for like the karaoke competitions and Rocktoberfest and stuff like that?
They paid, I believe, to them. Jennifer's, typically it's DBI that heads that up. But in
Okay.
the policy, I believe, correct, Jennifer? It states that any for-profit, and that doesn't mean whether you're showing a profit or not, that it's not to be, you have to charge at that point.
Okay.
You could
I
call it
don't
donation.
think it's anybody here is questioning you
No.
or against what
No,
you're
no,
doing.
no, that's fine.
We are
You have to do what you have to
definitely-
do, right?
We have to do it by law.
Right.
So what
Okay.
do we see? All right. First of all, I'm kind of gauge everybody here. Is this something we would like to see done? And then we just have to figure out how to do it? Is that kind of what y'all thinking? All right, so let's all pull together and figure out how to make it work. So
Okay.
you have any suggestions, Chairman?
I would love to
Okay.
say that she wouldn't charge for the spots.
And that leaves us with needing to raise more funds. So one of the, if you look further down, my additional information that I've added, the committee will post, there's some of the things that we will be doing in addition. We'll be posting signage and assigning vendors positions along Main Street sidewalk, beginning at 9, ending by 5. No street closure requested, no rain date. No additional toilet facilities, no other fees that we're asking for. We will be running a request through a nonprofit organization. I am a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and so I am going to be submitting a request to the board of the Chamber of Commerce and the president and whoever else to, whether or not it may not be through them. If that isn't accepted, then I'll go through another nonprofit organization requesting just an additional funds of about $500 that we need to pay for a few more signs and our advertising.
Is running this through the Chamber of Commerce or out?
So that may be an option, is that that could be added into my request to the nonprofit.
I would think if the money went through the chamber, that covers us, I would think.
Well, the money, but what about the money and the use of the square running through the chamber?
I think, yeah, I would think it would all have to run through a nonprofit, and I think the
Okay.
chamber would be the easiest one, either that or wanna use DBI or.
And the banner.
Right, DBI or,
Either one of those, we certainly wanna see the event happen and make it happen, but we were presented last year with some pretty strict guidelines on what we can
For-profit.
do with funding and what we can do with, even though this isn't necessarily funding, it's funding in a sense somewhere in there. So we're giving services and waiving fees. So if you could run it through either one of those.
Sure.
Or any one you see fit. It
Just
makes
to
it a lot
clarify
easier.
for Chris, he had mentioned running it through people. Last year, we had a request come before us, monetary wise, and I think we agreed, we said, let's pay for the banner that goes over Main Street. That way it kind of wipes our hands clean. It
yeah,
wasn't
last
direct-
year I wasn't charged for the square fee either.
My thing is, she did this event all last year and lost thousands of dollars of her own money. And then
That
this
that
year-
doesn't really matter. I understand this is, we have to follow the rules,
Yeah. I mean,
so
this
that's
has nothing
fine.
to do
I'm just saying.
We wanna see this happen. We wanna make it successful. We're just bound by state code.
Right.
Can, Mr. Benoit, do y'all wanna weigh in on this? If we, sir?
I personally think the town council has the ability to waive that which it chooses to.
Right, for the betterment of the town.
If you'd like to do it through the chamber, I think that's fair. I think that's a reasonable expectation, or DBI, whatever vehicle you use. I do think the state code does have some restrictions about making donations to other than nonprofit or recognized nonprofit groups. Okay, so, I heard a little bit about this today, and I think that's the proper vehicle, is use either DBI or chamber. Handle it that way, come up with a dollar figure. As far as the fee for the town square, I think it's up to you guys whether you wanna do it, if you wanna adhere strictly to the policy. I think Julie's agreeable with that.
I'd
and if
prefer
you
us not
choose
charge
to-
for the square as long as the request comes through
What-
an entity that's deemed legal.
Forgive me, Mr. Nash. What kind of timeline are we working on here? We have I'm gonna do my best to have a work session on the ordinance that we talked about earlier.
It says April
Within-
8th is our first.
Yeah, that's April through November.
Can you get with one of
Except
these
September.
organizations and have them pen us a letter
Yeah.
with
And-
this response? Or have a representative from one of these organizations here when we have the work session, which I'm gonna try to hold as soon as we can. And I will get you the notice and let you know what we're going on. Is this agreeable to council by common consent?
Well,
So I think you see the support here. We're just fishing for a way to get it done, okay?
Sure.
the chamber has a deadline to put in budget requests by March 1st. So.
So that's this week. That'll be going through the
Yeah.
chamber.
Were you able to get a hold of Miss Rose about this? So she already knows?
Yep.
Okay, I think we're good.
So I'll just add this piece of it, the square fee, to her request then.
Just whatever you want, get one of them to run it through them. And I think you're gonna get a favorable vote if I'm testing the water here, okay?
I just, an idea in my head here, I've thought about it and seen other towns do it. Food truck, if we tied in something, we, the town, second Saturday, on that street behind Bevel's, Ace, food trucks tied in with the same date.
Yeah, so one of the things I've listed here is that we are adding a request, we are adding food. It's been tossed around,
be
and
great to do
rather
that.
than taking away from restaurants, we decided that having things like popcorn and snow cones and lemonade, so that people are still visiting the restaurants, you know, because the whole idea is to
Yeah.
help our community.
Well, once a month, then the power's already back there. I know they got the power on the poles because they've had the arts and crafts festival.
Well,
And
The
if you could
food
get-
trucks.
if
Yeah,
you
that's
had
like a nice
something- I mean,
idea.
that would pull people in town too.
Hopefully, maybe that's an idea DBI will latch to with a new employee coming.
One other
Because that'd be a lot for Julie to put on, I'm sure.
yeah.
So one other topic I had talked to Philip about was whether or not a banner of some kind could be affixed to that historic Blackstone sign on 460. And it sounded like something, or set out separately. I don't know if that's a county situation or a,
Owned by the town of Blackstone, both signs. And we had talked about one time before about trying to affix some banners for different events. My comments to Julie are the location and the curvature and 460, that billboard sits very far back. So my suggestion to her was, if she's gonna put a banner, put it further up, because it's like right at that intersection. If it's back on that, and it'll have to be in very large letters. I think anything to draw people in town. Unless it's
Because it is a 7-month, you know, it's April through November, except for September because that's arts and crafts. So that's a long period of time to be advertising something, you know. So
Any suggestion, council?
to see it out on 460 would be kind of exciting.
Gentlemen, do you have any suggestion about that? So, if you will, Ms. Craig, get one of these organizations to attend or either send us a letter with all your requests. And my crystal ball says you'll be pleased with the results.
And again, I'm gonna say the same thing I did to the Juneteenth committee. If there's anything for next year, it needs to be submitted now.
Okay.
We're trying to budget this stuff better to use our citizens' money more wisely.
Do we need a motion to go ahead and approve the dates and times, and then have the chamber send in the request for all the fee waivers?
I'm not comfortable with that. I think it needs to all come through DBI or the chamber, all of it. Everybody agree with that?
Consent.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
you so much.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll have any visitors that would like to come to the podium and address the council. Yes, ma'am. Your name and address, please.
Tanya Booth. I'm at 713 2nd Street, Blackstone, Virginia.
Good to see you, Ms. Booth.
How you doing?
Well, thank you.
So I am here on behalf of the Craig Well Ministry, and we are having our second annual nonprofit walkathon to be held April the 22nd. It's going to be, the fire chief has already given us permission, and there will be no money needed. But we would like your prayers, and we would like for y'all to participate.
And what was the date again?
April 22nd.
4/22. And what times?
Did I have a time?
Registration's gonna start.
Oh, registration starts at 7:30. The opening walk is at 8. Kickoff exercises at 8:15.
Okay.
And location.
And the location, we're going to be at the firehouse,
The fire
fire
station.
Start
station.
your walk there.
We're going to start there. We're only going to have one walk this year.
Okay, you don't foresee any streets need to be closed or?
No.
Okay.
I would like, I would like a police escort possibly.
Yes, please.
Okay. I think that's
Please.
necessary.
They did it last
And
year
just-
for
yeah,
us.
we can
I'm on the
just-
committee, so they did it last year.
Chief, you know the dates. We can work with it. Yeah, we can work. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so if y'all like to walk, please come out and support. It's for the scholarships to help a deserving student go to college.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'd like a motion from council to endorse her event and to also provide police escort.
So moved.
Mr. Nash has moved.
Second.
Mr. Page is second. Or Mr. Gorman is second. Y'all make up your mind.
Second.
Mr. Gorman is second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I sustain, cause I'm on.
Abstain?
I'm
Yes,
on the
ma'am.
committee.
So motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a good evening.
Thank you. Good luck.
Any other visitors?
I can't believe we haven't even made a public comment yet.
All right, we're gonna move right on, and we'll now hear the fire chief report.
Good evening. We'll make it short and sweet.
Good evening, sir.
Floors are going to be done at the fire station starting on Thursday. So all fire trucks are going to be leaving the town shop for calls
How long?
for a week. So we're looking from Thursday through Thursday. This company's going to be working through the weekend, and we're going to have all the fire trucks there probably Wednesday night to be able to leave from there.
And I understand you're gonna take your turnout gear home?
The gear's going to be with us. We're going
Right.
to have key cards to get into the bus shop. Still working on how we're going to line it up. I'm supposed to meet with Mary tomorrow and talk with Philip, make sure everything's still good. And that's what the plan is for now. So thank you all for getting that passed through. EMT class is going to be put on in Blackstone on April 11th. We should have at least 15 people from Blackstone signed up to take it. So that's really, really good for us. The month of February, Corey Murphy's at 15 years, Casey Lewis at 13 years, Kenny Davis has 11, Sergeant Joe McMillan has 11, and Carl Schwabington has 10. It's a total of 60 years of service between those gentlemen. So
I have a problem with that. Carl Swabington said 10 years, been fireman 10 years?
Yeah, it's kind of
I'm
shocking.
an old man. Woo.
And our Tower 9's been pushed back, as you all know, to October. So we've gotten in a lot of tools and things for it. Labeled it, got it all set and out. So as soon as it gets in, we'll be able to put it in service pretty quick.
There's a bunch of good folks. Pass along our appreciation, please.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
Y'all have a good
Thank
night.
you for your brevity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have, next up is the payment of bills. You have before you two groups of bills. The first batch is the bills that have been paid but need council's approval. And they are in the amount of $796,919.09. Any questions or comments about these bills?
Move to approve.
Chairman Nash has moved to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
And Ms. Williams has seconded.
Philip, that utility bill that's on there, 403,000. What's this average utility bill?
I've been here
Purchase.
12 years. It's the first time we've been over 400,000.
Well, I thought it was high.
I think the average, if you took the full year, would probably be about 3.
Just
This month, we've already gotten our bill. It'll be paid
a lot less.
387. So, and we'll have a report about future expectations of utility rates. It's very depressing.
Any other questions or comments?
What is Harvey's Enterprise? If you don't mind me asking.
Harvey's Enterprise is a gentleman who is a contractor, and he builds homes under our weatherization and program and our East End program. He's currently building a house on Fitzgerald Street.
Yeah.
if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
All right, I was just,
In fact, I'm sure that's what that invoice is for.
Thank you.
It's for a home on Fitzgerald Street.
There was a $250 fee I was looking at here yesterday, and I'm not able to find it, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Jason Stokes.
I can't remember where it is. It's okay. We're good.
Jason went to fuel training, I think.
That's probably.
Where?
Meal advance. He went to fuel training school.
Yeah, I
Down
see
in
it's
Charlotte.
That would what?
$250.
Yeah. He went for a week, I think.
Any other questions, council? I'll ask for a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Gormas.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 7-0. The second batch of bills need approval and to be paid, and they're in the amount of $327,616.02. Do we have any questions? May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We're gonna go with Mr. Miller has moved and Ms. Nguyen has seconded. Any other discussion or questions?
All of the ACI tools, it has R by them, but all that's passed through stuff through a grant, or was it? Okay, that's for the tower that he was just talking about.
No, it's not all grant. 50-50 grant.
It's 50/50 grant.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you remember, there was some question whether it was 20,000 or 40,000. Actually, 40,000 local, 47,000.
So those R's are technically only half reimbursed. Okay.
I guess we need a half R symbol now. Any other questions, council? We'll start with a roll call vote, beginning with Mr. Gormas.
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Motion carries 6-0. Moving right along to appropriations, Manager Van Orbeck, do you have any appropriations this evening?
Not this time.
Next on the agenda is committee reports, and I think it's kind of a moot point to talk about the animal control ordinance. But I see that the committee also met regarding code enforcement and animal control. Chairman Page, do you wish to report or have any motions?
We were gonna jump on that this month. I think that's gonna be delayed now as we work on the animal control ordinance, so. You sent over a code for building inspector, 18.36, but you verbally said code enforcement. They're two different things. We looked at both the codes. They both need work. They're outdated problems. So we wanted to clarify which one you wanted us to get clarification from the mayor.
I would take you up on your gracious offer, sir, to
Go
look
both?
at both because I cannot remember.
Okay.
Again, I'm an old man.
As soon as we're able to handle animal control, we'll jump on it.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, thank you.
All right, we have a committee report from Account and Finance.
Simply, obviously, you know, we had recently lost the head of accounting that typically did the budget, so simply three of us getting in here, hey, do you need anything from us? Let us know. You've got our support. We trust you to do it. I mean, it was very benign. No action to take.
Okay, you have the report in here. Any questions for Chairman Nash? There is no consent agenda tonight. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? Unfinished business number 1. You have in your packet a resolution that has been requested by the USDA, that's the Department of Agriculture, that would allow the town to make application for grant and loan funding. And these funds will be used for replacement water and sewer lines in the Taylor Bottom project area. Mr. Manager?
Well, I will tell you, last month you authorized us to apply for a Taylor Bottom planning grant through the Department of Housing and Community Development. I believe it was a $60,000 total project. We received a call last week, and literally we were putting the agenda together, and this came from USDA, who has become a very good friend of the town of Blackstone, and they've indicated that they have as much as $2 million in grant fund available for the project.
Say what?
$2 million grant funds. But the bad news is that the town's match would be $3.4 million, almost exactly what we spent in East End. It would be a 40-year loan on that outstanding portion, and it would be at 2.25%. However, Tara Delaney, who also is a very good friend, said, I really need you guys to do this so that we can earmark this money. I don't know how their system works. I just know that good friends call us and tell us there's $2 million available. You are not obligated to accept this money. However, if we don't pass the resolution, we're not eligible to accept this $2 million, up to $2 million in grant money. It may be something south of there, but I know it won't be any more than that. And included is a resolution. There is no obligation other than all you're doing by this application or by this motion will be authorizing us to submit an application. You're not accepting the money. I don't have a final deal from them, but in order to move forward, this is water and sewer collection and distribution in the Taylor's Bottom neighborhood.
It doesn't put if, and this is a big if, so don't take like I'm against the project.
Mm-hmm.
If we say we don't do the project, but if we reward it, doesn't put the merits against us getting future grants.
No.
The only reason I ask is because obviously you've got $3.4 million that we'd have to take out.
Terrible
And
lick.
ask the citizens, rate-wise, obviously we'd have to bring money in somehow to cover that.
You would have to do a rate increase. Yep,
Correct.
certainly.
So, hence the reason, that as long as we're not,
Well, I will also tell you, if we're not successful with the DHCD portion of it, I don't know if you necessarily have to prioritize the water and sewer lines in Taylor's Bottom above a raw water line or some of the other needs that are floating around out here. But the purpose of the water and sewer lines to be addressed now would be they're old. They do still have some lead goosenecks in the water system, and they still have brick manholes, which are indicative of old water and sewer.
what rate increase did we see for
East End.
East End?
0. None.
See a rate increase?
Did
on
not.
No,
water and sewer?
we did not.
You did not.
I was just
Not to say I won't come back and talk to you about it in the budget process, but we've got, this would be the match for the DHCD, which is the housing and drainage portion of the project, and this would be a significant contribution towards the project. Again, our friend Tara Delaney said there's some money available, and if you're interested, submit an application and adopt this resolution, and we'll see what we can do.
I move that Philip submit or that we adopt the following resolution so that we can submit for the application.
And if you can modify
So
just to
moved.
authorize me to execute all the other documents, there's a fair housing standards and all those kinds of associated
That would
documents.
be included. Anything that needs to be signed,
Good.
our town manager has the authority to do so.
So moved.
We have a motion for Mr. Nash and a duly second by Mr. Miller. I will ask for a roll call vote.
The discussion on this real quick?
Absolutely. I'm not trying to push y'all.
I'm sorry.
Um,
Are you sure? $2 million
Well, like I said,
grant.
I'm gonna get a kick in the shin.
$2
here,
million
so-
grant and allows you to apply up to $3.4 million worth of loans. Is
That's
that right?
correct.
Just want to make sure that.
0.5%, I think.
Pardon?
2.25%.
2.25?
2.25 for 40 years.
Okay, so the
Interest.
debt service, okay, gotcha. All right, cool. That's,
Mhm.
thank you. I'm good.
Okay, any other discussion, council? I will ask for a roll call vote from Mr. Gormas.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 7-0. You be ready for next month, right?
Sir?
Be ready for next month. Be calling on you every time.
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Win.